Hi, it's me, Vicki Marie. Sorry, I'm on the avatar this morning. Just not here. It's just not a morning that I'm just not ready. I'm not dressed. I'm not made up. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, I'm on the avatar, but it won't matter because a lot of things are things I'm going to show you. So it's not so much about me. It's about the things that I'm going to show you. So I've gone to bed last night. I actually did sleep well last night after a terrible night the night before. Went to bed thinking, right, we've got to, accept this decision and move on. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Princess. Hi, Joe H. And hi, Karen. And then, of course, I've woken up this morning and come onto the computer. Well, first thing I want to say is thank you, everyone, for subscribing. I am now on 2015 subscribers, and it is so bittersweet because I know it's because people are watching the Nicola Bulley content, but obviously I'm pleased to be on 2015 subscribers. Thank you for all your likes, everything that you've done to support my channel. I really appreciate it. Hi Maya, hi Rachel. I hope that you're enjoying the content, you appreciate the content and where it's coming from. So I've got up this morning, I've gone onto my emails. I've got loads of emails again from people, some saying, oh, will you still do at least one a week or videos? Don't stop doing Nicola altogether, and then sending me sort of information, from what people have said or, so much. So I've sort of read through all that. Then I've gone through the things that I normally go through. And I'm just thinking, I don't see how you can. You feel there's a real feeling of injustice here, or something not finished off, or something. Now I know that the family are, or say I know, supposedly. Hi Joe, thank you. Hit the like. Yeah. Supposedly are content with this accidental death verdict, despite all the anomalies. It's really sort of rank, because I'm trying to put myself in their position. I don't think I would be happy with it. Hi Jackie. If it was my daughter, I know they want to move on. I understand. Anyway, so let me go into the reasons why. So the first thing I want to say is, I did a poll on my channel. Let me find it. Yeah, so I did a poll yesterday. 437 people voted on this poll, and I asked, I want to show you this actually. Hi Heather. I asked what we thought of the verdict, basically. So is it that one, was it? Yeah. Let me share this with you. So on the community chat, I asked, based on the evidence, notice I put in capital letters. You're always banging on about evidence, and then this, it just amazes me how we're told not to say anything unless we've got evidence. But you can actually have an inquest result. You can actually have a verdict in an inquest that with no evidence. That's okay. Anyway, based on the evidence, should the verdict at Nicola Bulley's inquest have been open, accidental death, or other? So we can see 86% of, I know that you're my viewers, and maybe you tend to, maybe it's because obviously well, you don't have to be a subscriber actually to do the poll. It's open on the chat. It wasn't hidden. But anyway, 86% of the people who follow my channel thought it should have been an open verdict. There were 4% who thought it should be accidental death, so they'd be happy with the verdict. And then other, which I presume are people that think that there is some foul play, or, you know, that any, I don't know, you know, just other verdict. So obviously, overwhelmingly, 86% of people thought it should be an open verdict. I still cannot see how it could have been anything else. So that was the first thing that I looked at, and it, you know, it made me sort of start thinking. Hi, Maria. Maybe the parents are scared of what they might find, but the thing is, the girls, because people say, oh, you know, got to respect the children, but it's respecting the children, you want the answers. So the second thing, this to me is very, very important, because I don't know if you know, but yesterday, Mr. Mark Williams Thomas or whatever, after saying he was like really annoyed with the way the police had dealt with it and this, that and the other, he then came out with a statement saying he thought that everybody should move on and leave it. You know, he's a real mystery, and he just changed his mind instantly. Maybe there's a book deal in it for him, or maybe, you know, why did he just suddenly change his sort of view on it? And then somebody put a response on to his change. Hi, await the groom. So I'm going to look at that response, because that, to me, I don't know who made the response. It doesn't matter who made the response. It's not you know, it's not alleging anything. It's just a response to what he said. So let's have a look. Gosh, I can't find it now. So it's one of the Facebook ones. Ah, there it is. So I don't know if you can read it. Probably, maybe not. You can't read it, but I can read it out. So you can see it, and I can read it out for you. So this is it was posted on one of the Facebook groups. So this is a response to Mark Williams Thomas's sudden change of tune. With all due respect, Mark, I beg to differ. Wild speculation continues because the coroner reached his conclusion without clear evidence and without addressing issues that could have allowed him to reach a different conclusion. This is exactly, isn't it, what we've been saying? We know there's no evidence of foul play either, but there is no, I don't want to, you may as well say, oh yeah, it was foul play, decision, murder, no evidence. So what's the difference then? So yeah, accidental death, but there's no evidence. It's the lack of evidence. Anyway, dwelling on matters may not be intended to provide conclusions. Even if Nicola's death was an accident, we are now privy to information that raises other concerns about family life and what may have caused Nicola to suffer a range of medical issues, particularly a head injury severe enough to seek A&E attention. Now, I don't know who wrote this, but I wish I'd wrote it. I would have liked to have written it. It's exactly it's obviously someone who knows what they're doing. You're talking about, so as you'll see further on. That same family life is what the children continue to be exposed to. This can hardly be ignored from a safeguarding perspective. How will this impact them? Are they safe? Will they be safe? Those with knowledge and understanding about physical, emotional, and mental health issues resulting from exposure to domestic abuse, coercive and controlling behaviour, gaslighting, etc., will know that what Nicola apparently experienced and the timeline fits a domestic abuse scenario. With coercive and controlling behaviour, an offence under Section 76. SCA 2015. So somebody who knows about the law has written this. To ignore this is to deny every domestic. This actually quite upsets me. So, God. To ignore this is to deny every domestic abuse victim's experience of these effects and concerns, and to, in effect, brush them under the carpet. This is every victim's fear, not to be heard or understood, and for their children not to be protected. This is what Nicola would want, safety and protection for her children if she herself was a victim. I personally do not believe it is now time to draw a conclusion to this particular concern in the light of new information. I feel anyone who is knowledgeable in this field, together with anyone who feels that something is just not right, should be allowed to speak out without feeling publicly shamed in the media or risk any personal or professional repercussion. I also feel that this moment is a presented opportunity for those with powers. Sorry, I'm getting upset. For those with powers to investigate Nicola's home life further, to exclude concerns of risk. This is my sole reason for being vocal, not to harass, cause distress, insult or defame anyone. Safety trumps each and every one of these beliefs every time. The next time the opportunity to investigate comes knocking, it may be too late. As I say, I didn't write that, but I wish I had. I wish I had written it. Whoever wrote that, it's so sort of concise. There is no evidence of accidental death. There is evidence that there possibly was domestic abuse. So why is that not being investigated? You know, when we look at, you know, the more I think about Nicola and how tiny she was, and, you know, and the A&E visit with a bang on the head, and then the home visit where she said she didn't know what had happened to her. It's tragic, isn't it? And looking at her photos, how the photos, you know, the first initial photos of her, like from last year, was so sort of, you know, she's like a different person to what she was on the photos around Christmas time, etc. And the things like the bruises, it's too many things, the man in black, the screams, etc. Again, we're in a position, hi Bad Fairy, we're in a position where it's just sort of being swept under the carpet. Those issues are not being addressed. It still might not mean that there was, it still may have been accidental death, but what we're trying to say is there is no evidence of it. And now it's like it's closed and nothing else. Is that it now? Nothing. Are people saying, has it been looked into? And, you know, I'm not even saying that Paul has done anything, but I just think it should be looked into. So, Wendy, you'll have to, sorry if you miss it. The letter, it's not a letter, it's a response to Mark Thomas Williams, or whatever his name is, because he said we should all move on now. After yesterday, he was criticising the police, etc. He's now saying we should move on. So someone has responded. So if you'd have to sort of look again from the beginning, because I need to move on now. You know, Wendy, that what you're saying, that's people do. I mean, unfortunately, you know, people do when they really have got an alcohol problem. I mean, a problem as opposed to just drinking regular or whatever problem like I do. Unfortunately, I don't lose any weight, but I wouldn't want to lose that much weight anyway. They do lose weight. They do lose weight because they don't eat. They drink and they don't eat. You know. Yeah. So anyway, it's a very good response. When you get a chance, you must look at it, because it's very calm, calculated, concise response to Mark, a man, of course, deciding that we should all move on. And some of the comments that I've seen on the Facebook groups as well, it's always the men, and they go, well, it's all you women thinking something's wrong. Yes, because women suffer from domestic abuse or coercive control the most. I know some men do, but yes, and women who have suffered from it, they can recognize it. This is what I think people don't realize, the instinct that you get. You know, you can't, it's got to be looked into. Thank you, Nick. Hi, Julie. So that was then the next thing that I looked at, that response to Mark, what's it? Then, I don't know why, it just came up on my YouTube. I want to look at this again. Now, I'm not playing this because I don't want copyright. Well, I'm playing it, you'll be able to hear it, but I won't show. But this is Peter Falding when he was on GB News. So let's have a listen to what Peter Falding had to say. This was in February, I think, after he'd, done his bit. Now, just tell me, can you hear that? Maybe I'd be better off to show it. I'll show it, and I'll just have to keep stopping it because I just don't want any copyright, because then they start messing about with your video. Anyway, let's have a look.
Harding says the blame lies firmly with the police, who he believes have let down Nicola's family with a string of mistakes and unanswered questions during the case. I'm delighted to be joined by both Peter and Simon now. So, Peter, let me start with you, because your reputation has been on the line here, and you feel like you are being made a scapegoat today.
Absolutely, Simon. I mean, Dan, sorry. The police have been searching this river for 3 weeks with divers, with side scan sonar, the same equipment as we had, and river search teams plus dogs. And Nicola has not been found. We searched that part of the river, the lower part of the river, for just 4 hours. And I can categorically say that from our sonar footage, which I've since reviewed, Nicola was not laying on the riverbed. I can't see into the reeds. I'm not going to make that very clear. And I've always said that to the media. We cannot see into the reeds, but we can see what's under the boat. And I've got a crystal clear image of the actual riverbed.
Okay, but you never specifically searched that part of the river where she was found?
Yes, we did, Dan. We trawled like the police every day with our sonar. They did with their sonar, and there was no sign of Nicola on the under the water.
So, do you see that? So he said no sign of Nicola, no sign. He's put his reputation on the line to say that she was not there. Now, he said they didn't search the reeds, but supposedly the police searched the reeds. We saw that stupid video from PC Plug, which meant absolutely nothing. And Mark Williams Thomas, he said that. He said it shows the police in a very bad light. That video was ridiculous. If it was supposed to show, to endorse the verdict of accidental death, it actually made it sound ridiculous. So he said they searched in all these places. There was one place he said they didn't search him, but the fire brigade did. So hi, Georgina. I can feel myself getting angry. But anyway, let's just have another little listen. Please don't get me for... It's fair use, GB News. It's fair use. Please don't... Oh, that's it. It's finished. Yeah. So he's categorically said that she was not in the river. So that came up on my... you know how you get your suggested videos? I didn't look for that video. It just came up on my YouTube this morning. And so that was the next thing. So I've got this morning, I've got all the emails from my subscribers. asking me to continue to not give up on Nicola, etc. The poll from my community chat, 86% of the people that follow me, there was nearly 500 people participated in that poll, and it was overwhelmingly 84% of people thought it should have been an open verdict. Now I want to show something which is sort of a little, it's not lighter because it's still dealing with the same serious subject, but it's Katie Hopkins. I've started to like her so much. I really have. She just calls it out as it is. I like that. Even if I don't agree, I don't always agree with what Katie Hopkins says, believe me. But I like the fact that she's open in what she thinks and feels, and she says what she thinks. And that to me is good. So let's have a look. Let's have a look what she said. I think it's that one. Yep. Right, so let's have a listen to good old Katie, her views on the subject.
Baby just fell into the river, and because it was chilly, she drowned just like that. And people are asking all sorts of questions that they shouldn't be, like, why was there extensive bruising on her upper and inner arm? I mean, I just don't think those sorts of questions are relevant in any way. And some people are still asking, how could it be that a specialist dive team went into the river, said there was absolutely no body in the river, and then a body turn up 20 days later somewhere in the shallows? I mean, I think that is perfectly explainable. And as for all this nonsense about a Fitbit still showing movement or a heartbeat 8 days later, I mean, I think, you know, I'm a runner, and I think that's perfectly explainable. It is perfectly normal that something that measures movement and heartbeat would still be showing a heartbeat after someone died. And as for the figure in black that people saw and has never really been brought up or questioned, you know, police are busy people. They haven't got time to be questioning every Tom, Dick and Harry in black that happened to be at the site of where someone fell into a river and drowned because it was a little bit chilly. And I totally believe the woman who heard a scream but also knew from like over a few miles away that it was an inhale scream but not an exhale scream, because those are different things. And that lady would definitely have known. And I don't think anybody should be asking any questions of the police about the fact that they said the woman was an alcoholic, and therefore, really, you know, drunk women like me, you know, I drink too much Merlot. So who cares if I happen to just be taking a walk, leave my phone on a bench and my dog's still there, and I'm also dead a few days later and no one could find me and I had some bruising. I mean, I think it's perfectly normal. And the social media trolls, frankly, well, they can go to hell.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's so good. You know, it's so good. The way, you know, she just does manage to sort of sum it all up, doesn't she? How ridiculous it is. You know, and we're supposed to just, yeah. I thought it was so funny that it's funny, but it's not funny. You know, it's funny, but it's black humor, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, a woman has died. A woman has died, and her death has been declared as accidental without any evidence whatsoever. So, you know, I'm absolutely, you know, so angry because, you know, if you had anyone who's got a daughter, well, it doesn't matter whether it's a daughter or a son. It's just this, a stitch up is a stitch up, whichever way you look at it. And it may bring comfort to the family. I personally don't see how that brings comfort to the family, because there's too many things in this whole thing that I would want to know the answer to. Now, apparently, well, you can say what you like about Katie. She, you know, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going into that. All I'm talking about is she was right with what she said there, as far as I'm concerned. Everything she said was correct. So what I'm going to do Oh, I didn't know that, Nicola Marie. That's what I mean. It's just another thing, isn't it? If the guy but the guy who actually did the video that we saw it on this channel. He was just wading through that water. It just looked like he was paddling through it. He wasn't. Anyway, to me, that video that the police showed just made it even more certain to me that maybe she went into the water, but why wasn't she found? Why was she not found? He said everything they did, they made a line of police from the first night and walked along the river and checked the reeds, all the snag points except one, but the fire brigade checked that. Then, of course, Peter went there with his. It just doesn't make sense why they didn't find her. Yeah, exactly. I hope people appreciate Katie's sarcasm. That's all. Sometimes, right now, I don't agree with Katie on everything she says, but I agree with her on that. So that's why I wanted to show it to you. Now, there's lots of things on. There's a guy on Twitter talking about Nicola Bulley's Fitbit, and it's quite a long sort of tweet. I don't understand like the ins and outs of the things about a Fitbit, but he seems to know what he's talking about. So Mickey is called. He's on Twitter. He's verified on Twitter. So if you might want to go on there and have a look what he's got to say. Then there are people, of course. I don't want to show this photo. In fact, I'm going to download that and block. It's got the children's faces in it, so I'm not going to show that photo. But you may have seen this photo at some party, and there's Louise and Paul sort of with their arms around each other, etc. So there's a lot of, and then there's now. I don't know whether to show this or not. No, I'm not, because I don't want to upset the family anymore about. I will download this video and I'll probably put it on the members, but you may have seen it. If you go on Twitter and you look up noise frequency account, you'll see this video that is put together of Louise and Paul laughing, at the very beginning of the inquiry. Sometimes you forget about that, when you haven't seen it for a while, you just forget just how Paul did laugh, and he literally laughed, and it was a proper laugh. Anyway, so this guy, Noise Frequency, on Twitter, if you want to have a look, his attitude, if you like, to it all is that the call to the ambulance was deliberate to make it look as if Nikki had these problems and Nikki didn't understand what had happened to her, and he's saying it was described as a blip, but it was more than a blip if it was to be believed. And then, of course, was it the night before or the night after she'd been at the A&E? So I'm saying I don't know if it's a man or a woman. The account is called Noise Frequency on Twitter. I would definitely have a look at it. There's a lot of interesting stuff on there. So what I've decided, and then somebody else going on about the bruising on her body, and the bruising that you can see very clearly, I think. I think I can show you this. It's not too controversial. Well, it's controversial. They're all controversial, but yeah. Now this is a photo where a lot of people think this is bruising on Nicola's arm. And funnily enough, does that fit in with what the pathologist said about the bruising on her arm? Is that bruising? Then some people say, oh, it's just a shadow. I don't think that's a shadow. That's a bruise. And here, there's a bruise there, and then a bit further down there looks like a bruise to me. Anyway, it looks like a bruise enough that it should be investigated, in my opinion. What do you think? Do you think that looked like a bruise? What just does, doesn't it? So bruises on the arm like that, I've known domestic violence that is a very typical place to have bruises, when someone grabs your arm. Someone like Nikki, she's so tiny. This is what sort of, you know, she's so tiny. She would bruise easily, of course she would. Definitely a bruise, definitely a bruise. It could be, Kelly, it could be from a blood test. If she's had a blood test, sometimes people come up with a bruise, don't they? But I don't think it would be where that big bruise was. The one lower down might have been from a blood test. Sometimes it's difficult to get blood out of people, you know, if their veins don't pop up. Let's just have another look at it, and then we can have a think about it. It's the, yeah, see here, down nearer to the Fitbit. Oh, look at Willow there. That could be from a blood test, but I don't think this here is from a blood test. Oh, it's a big bruise. But, you know, failing that, if it is from a blood test, well, you know, it should be investigated and it should be looked into. They'd be able to know when she had her last blood test, and they'd be able to look at that and say, oh, that's from a blood test. It's definitely a bruise. I think we're all agreed that it's definitely a bruise, even if we don't agree as to how it arrived there. And the thing is, in the autopsy, she was found to have bruises. So that picture was quite a long time ago. So what, had she had another blood test? I think it's a big bruise for a blood test. Princess is a member. So last night she wasn't a member. No, well, she's showing up on mine as she always. Princess always shows up on mine as a member, because you get a little. Well, it probably should be on the chat anyway. There's like a little green. You're in green, I think, if you're members. Anyway, so those are the things that I looked at this morning. Await the groom. I have taken blood for years, and I'd be ashamed if that happened to my patients. Yeah. Hi, Julie. I don't know. I think only the family, personally. I mean, who can challenge who can challenge a coroner's decision? I don't know. I sort of started off thinking, oh, I'm going to write a letter to an email to the coroner. Then I thought, oh no, I'm not going to. I'm going to just put out, it's nothing to do with me. And then today, now I'm thinking, no, I am going to write an email to the coroner. He probably won't care that I'm writing me an email, but I don't care. I've just got to say what I think. It'll be pleasant, it'll be polite, but I'm just going to say to him, I just, you know, totally bamboozled that a family lawyer can literally dictate to a coroner what verdict they should come up to, even though there isn't any evidence. I am absolutely flabbergasted. Really, I am. And does that mean, is it because they had a lawyer? If you didn't have the money to buy a lawyer, would you have had to just take whatever verdict the coroner came up with, even if you didn't agree with it? You know, very strange. Very, very strange. I don't think we can't appeal it. I don't, because we're not. I would be very surprised. I don't know, really. I suppose is the answer to this, to that, and that would open a real can of worms anyway, wouldn't it? You know, I think we've got to sit with it, with the verdict, but that doesn't mean to say that we have to just, you know, just forget it and be silenced completely. So that's the decision anyway. So I'm going with the decision as well of my own subscribers and people, you know, because at the end of the day, if there's things that I feel like I should mention, I'm going to mention them. Now, noticed on Facebook as well, good old Facebook, you know, and if you get anonymous posts on Facebook and thing, you can't, you know, take them at face value. But Heather Gibbons she said on the Facebook group that the family were very satisfied with the verdict. So, you know, and I noticed on the Facebook groups, it's a little bit like, well, oh, it's not going very well, Mira. I'll have a look in a minute, actually, while we're on this. I'll have a look. You know, the Facebook groups is a similar thing, isn't it? You've got like a mixture of views. You've got some people that are saying, oh, move on. And then you've got other people that are saying, no, you know, we're not happy with it. Oh, something else I wanted to show people. Let me just see. There's quite a lot of tweets on Twitter. Oh, what's that? Sorry, if you go down the tweets on Twitter, and I'm talking about from people that are publicly, you know, not anonymous people that are publicly, they have a name, you know. Oh gosh, that's another parody thing. Lots of people talking about knowing, you know, living nearby, and this thing of, you know, was there any domestic violence in that relationship? It was never brought up. I mean, to be fair, it was never brought up by the doctor, but then the question was never asked. So the doctor is just replying to the questions that the coroner asked. So why was that question not asked? Just strange for me, but that's wrong or whatever. Right. I want to try and find those. Yeah. See, I don't like this. We mentioned this as well. When Paul was trying to contact Nicola, he tried to ring. Call details show that he tried to ring Nicola 6 times between 10:40 and 10:47, also sending a WhatsApp message. And then at 10:50, Anne-Marie Fletcher calls St. Michael's School, having found the phone but not knowing how to get hold of Paul. At 10:54, a member of staff at the school calls Paul, informing him the phone and Willow have been found. But on another thing that I was reading off yesterday, they were saying that it was Anne-Marie who phoned Paul. Anyway, Paul then calls Anne-Marie Fletcher at 10:57, and that is the call where he tells her that she's been struggling. I still think that's a strange thing to say to someone. I do. Someone that you don't even know. Now, where was the other thing I was looking for? Here you go. So this is somebody saying to the NHS mental health expert, you are a mental health clinician, call for concerns of alcohol consumption, and all you do is give advice about alcohol consumption. Did you ask about medical history? Did you question her relationship? Did you do a risk assessment, and did you consider domestic abuse? These are questions that need. Oh, here's the person that, yeah, she's put up that reply as well that I read out. So now let me see. There are some other things that I wanted to find. I've read that out. Yeah. Now I'm going to show you these. These are on Twitter, but they were on the Facebook pages, but they're taken from Twitter, but they are from people who do put their name. They're not anonymous. Things were definitely, I mean, this is hearsay, so I'm just saying that, but it's just there's quite a lot of them. And I know anyone can set up a Twitter account, anyone can say, anything. I could put something on Twitter now and say things like this, but there's enough, surely isn't there enough there for it to be worth an investigation, along with the bruises, along with the screams, along with the man in black. I'm not saying, gosh, this is just like the build up to the inquest. I'm not saying that each thing in itself is evidence of anything, but what I'm saying is there's enough doubt, there's enough things to cast a doubt on the accidental death verdict. This is just my whole point. The accidental death verdict is not sustainable in my eyes. That doesn't mean to say she didn't die of an accidental death. Doesn't mean to say Paul killed her or anybody killed her. What it means is there's no evidence. That is it. And you know, Princess, you're probably right. That probably is why they kept it all from the public until the inquest. Because if they tried to release all this earlier, people would be like, what? Hi, Silver Moon Warrior. Too many questions, and they say we're going to be silent. Why should we be silent? You know, why should we be silent? I still, yeah, maybe strategic, yeah. I still don't think, well, I think that these messages, etc., all did come out earlier, Kelly, but they weren't taking any notice of, were they? And none of it, this is the other thing, none of it has been addressed. Doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't mean it's true. It just means it should be addressed. And coming out with things like the man in black at the inquest and then just say, no, it's not relevant. And actually, it was the lawyer who said it's not relevant. The lawyer. And it was the lawyer who said the screams weren't relevant. Why was she telling the coroner what the conclusion was that he should come to? And on the coroner website, it's not even a narrative verdict. Like he did say it in his summing up. I can't establish how Nicola got into the river. He did say that, but he said because there's no evidence of any foul play, she didn't die of natural causes. So the only conclusion I can come to is accidental death. And, you know, to me, that's like, no, the conclusion you come to is it's an open verdict because you don't know what happened to her. Nobody knows for sure what happened to her. Oh my God, that's going to happen one day, isn't it, David? When be Andrew Snowden running for Prime Minister, and we, hi, Husky Lady. No, just people on Twitter. You'll have to watch it back, Husky Lady. I can't go through it all again, but. So there you go. So that's what I just wanted to say. You know, when I get something in my head, I just have to say it. I think, let me see. I can't stay silent about it completely. I can't. I'm not going to go on about it all the time. But if things come up, I will either come on a live or make a quick video or whatever. I will. Because I can't, you know, I can't be silenced. And I think that statement by whoever it was that replied to Mark Williams Thomas, that was the main thing for me. Because for me, that's something that I would like to say, and I wish I'd said it. That could have been my words, exactly what I think. You know, and somebody has voiced that, whoever it was, thank you very much. Irene, yes, I can. Well, I can see that comment because you put it in capital letters. What do you mean the coroner is ENT? What does ENT mean? I don't know what it means. Hi, Jennifer. Well, you can always catch up. You can watch it. Yeah, so that's it. So I'm not going to... you know, just come on for every little thing. There is definitely, But anytime if I hear anything like that I've seen today, and it made me feel better knowing, and you all make me feel better knowing that I'm not going out of my head. That it's like, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's not like just, oh God, you know, just like being stupid and sort of wanting to carry on the narrative. It's not. It's a genuine feeling that something's not right, and it's felt like that, hasn't it, right from the beginning? So there you go. You can put that, Mark Thomas, whatever, you can put that in your pipe and smoke it. I know. Yeah, he is, Irene. He's an ear, nose and throat specialist. That's what he was before he was a coroner. He was an ear, nose and throat surgeon or specialist, whatever you would call it. Okay, listen, I'm going. So thank you so much, as always, for being here with me. Don't forget to like on your way out. I'll leave it on for a little while. Yeah, like his pipe foot. Do you know, it's all these men that say these things. I know, has he not got a daughter or a sister or a, you know, an auntie or a mum or whatever that he would want? A lot of the women who feel this way about this, they feel like that for a reason, because they've either experienced this sort of thing themselves, or they know people who've experienced it and they know how it goes. So, you know, that's where the suspicions come from. Yes, he was the same with Madeline. Oh, did you have some... Listen, if you have trolls, you need to tell me, and then I'll, you know, I'll get rid of him. I don't like trolling, as you know, so I don't know why you have that attention. No. So anyway, Astra, sorry, you've just come on, but I am just going now, but you can watch it back. I'm going to leave the chat on for a little while, just so that you can have a little chat to each other. But thank you so much. And remember to always live and love wisely and carefully. Look after yourself, because you're the most important person. And I will see you very soon. Oh, I'll see you tonight. I'm doing a Friday night live, because that's what I always do. I don't know whether I'll do it about Nikki, because I've done this now, but I think I'll do a different subject, but I'm sure Nikki will come up in it. And if I hear anything else, obviously that will be in it. So thank you. Bye.